everybody, this is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about some crazy news from Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, new content updates, and some unexpected cancellations. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and also as a reminder, we got plenty of brand new content going up over on detonated.com for those out there that want additional coverage of multiplayer, Warzone, and Zombies, plus plenty of tweets every single hour on Detonated's Twitter. Now, let me know in the comments though, what do you guys think Zombies absolutely needs as of right now for Modern Warfare 3? I know a lot of answers are probably going to include round-based or onslaught, but what about some quality of life changes, right? Like I was saying on the podcast just recently, all they really had to do, at least in my opinion, for at least the launch of Season 2 for MW3 is add in a couple of quality of life changes, which alone could have provided some replayability until the mid-Season 2 update in March, which has actual content. I mean, if they would have just added in a wallet system, giving you more reason to continue extracting, giving you a reason to stack up a bunch of cash, and if they would have added those containment levels, aka the exfil streaks, which actually require you to complete, I believe it's at least 100 total contracts, and you have the exfil for them to count, but all that alone I think would have kept people fairly busy for at least the next couple of weeks before new content gets added in. But now, before we continue, I just wanted to remind you about MitchCactus.com, where you can get assistance granting camos, nukes, or schematics in MW3. These guys do not use unlock tools or any bannable methods and will actually help you play the game. Mitch Cactus is also supported by Trustpilot with over 10,000 verified reviews. You can use code Dynamite for a limited time to save 5% off your order. Obviously, as we confirm over on Detonated, on March 6th, which is the launch of Season 2 Reloaded, that'll be the first update for MWZ in over 49 days. Now, obviously, there's been some stability and bug fixes that got released thanks to the recent Season 2 patch notes, but in terms of actual content, we're looking at the Carries Warlord, 3 new schematics, and a brand new story mission. Do you think that'll be enough? I honestly think with the new story mission, that'll end up setting up a similar drop of content like we saw in Season 1, where you get a story mission, then you get an Easter egg to do an Urzikstan to unlock a rift to go back into that same dark ether space. Then in the space you can probably unlock an Elder Sigil, which allows you to do a hardcore version of that rift, plus other surprises, secret rooms, and drops that have been unannounced. That's probably what's going to happen, and we'll circle back to that. But there was of course a Season 2 creator call just a good week and a half ago, and during the Zombies portion of that call, as we reported over on Detonated, there were a couple of things confirmed. The first thing was in regards to Tombstone and how they were investigating a way in which they would fix that perk and the exploit in which people were really just abusing to go ahead and have over 200 items in their inventory, to then go have 200k, 700k in cash every time they play a match. I mean, they were investigating how to solve that issue and did say that fix was going to be in the works, but then what do you know, when Season 2 came out, they ended up patching Tombstone completely. There's a harder method that I think got found, but the method that was working for several weeks has now been fixed. But they did say they were also investigating a stash size increase. Not sure why they have to investigate that. I just think 10 items is far too few, and if you could at least hold 30 or 40 items, that would be a big increase, especially when we have new schematics on the way. I think having more acquisitions in your backpack to then have a faster paced match when going into the Dark Ether, if you want to go into that right away and not set up for 40 minutes in Urzikstan, that would be a really healthy update. So it's unclear why they just don't want to increase the size a little bit more. And I could kind of see having it set to 10, making the mode a bit more replayable, giving people more reasons to keep playing a little bit longer. But at the same time, it's like, just increase the SAS size if you want to add in more items. I just don't get it. But the sad news that Kevin Drew then confirmed himself was that there are no new perks or enemy types planned for the mode. This is crazy to hear about, considering how many leaks have surfaced about MWZ content. Who knows what went wrong here, but we know about the Widow's Wine teaser from the Walmart Collector's Edition. We know about the leaks that talked about perks like Electric Cherry or even Mule Kick. So in terms of what happened, that's a big question mark. And then you think back to Activision's statement about how MWZ is apparently the most engaging third mode Modern Warfare has ever done, and that's kind of a given since Zombies will always be infinitely more popular than Spec Ops or Survival. But you think about the statements from Activision about how successful MWZ is, and then you look at the content output we're getting, it just doesn't make sense. But the only theory I can come up with is that during this transition period, while Treyarch goes all hands on deck for Black Ops, as they pass the baton to High Moon or Infinity Ward or whoever else to work on MWZ, maybe that transition period is what's causing a delay right now to see some actual content added into the game, but it still doesn't explain why content's being canceled. Now, there is a follow-up as well to a report that I did mention a couple of weeks ago in regards to a PvPvE experience inside of Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. No, it's not going to replace the zombies we currently have to where they add PvP or they add friendly fire or anything. Apparently a separate mode entirely is coming to MWZ, and who knows if it's canceled or not, but apparently new information about that got added to the game's database following the launch of Season 2. Apparently that mode has a new form of intel called Basic, Advanced, Major, and even Warlord. So there would apparently be some intel you can find while playing this LTM or whatever this mode is. I've seen theories that this is referring to Horde Point, which is for multiplayer that also incorporates PvPvE, but no, all the leaks do suggest that this is a mode for Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, not multiplayer. I think if this does come to the game, I mean, some content's better than no content, and I think it could prove to be really replayable in the way the DMZ was if it is handled correctly. But let's all hold our breath on this and not judge or criticize something that hasn't even been announced yet. Let's just wait and see what comes about this report about PvPvE. But in regards to what to expect with Season 2 Reloaded, like I mentioned in the tweet earlier, we are getting a new story mission, and apparently it's tied around Fletcher. So the description for this new story mission is apparently go to Fletcher's last known location. So that'll be this new Dark Ether Rift, which I believe does take place near the Syed Shopping Center, which we all saw in Al Mazrah last year. They're taking that entire space and making it a new Dark Ether Rift, similar to the Dark Ether Rift we currently have, which is in Al Bagra Fortress. So that'll be the new story mission, and I'm sure you go to his last known location, you fight somebody, or you find some artifacts. It'll tease a quest that you have to do on Urzikstan, another fetch quest, and then once you finish that story mission, it'll probably give you a cutscene of some sort. Then it's up to us to go back to Urzikstan and figure out how to re-enter that rift without doing the act mission. But new information did also surface about Season 3 Zombies content, which is actually pretty impressive, and unfortunately, it does seem like this is content that isn't for the launch of Season 3 at the beginning of April, but Season 3.5, aka Reloaded. So that probably means the content we're about to discuss is for May, and supposedly the content does include another Dark Ether Rift, another Easter egg we have to do on Urzikstan, as well as something tied to Ava through the story mission, investigating relics, cleansing them, and facing somebody known as the Champion. This will be a brand new boss. So right there, after reading that, I'm like, okay, it seems like we're gonna have a bit of a pattern with what content we end up getting with every major title update for MWZ, but they go even further than this with the leak by saying that the new Rift Gate items in Season 3 Reloaded will each have their own unique abilities, giving players extra zombies damage, zombies object damage, giving players extra speed, zombie object speed increases, giving players special vision, and even zombie object vision. So it's unclear exactly what this will entail. Could these artifacts or any of this information be tied to a PvPvE mode, or is this just content for the base experience on Urzikstan or the Dark Ether Rifts? So it's unclear which item will give which ability, but this is interesting information about the future of MWZ. But like I was just mentioning a few seconds ago, it looks like the content pattern every season will be something that we've already seen in Season 1. Hopefully it doesn't get too repetitive, but if we get a nice beautiful cinematic after a cool story mission with every major update, that's a plus for the post-launch narrative. But then it seems like we're not going to be getting any actual new maps in MWZ, such as maybe Fortune's Keep or Rebirth support, but instead we just have the base Urzikstan Zombies mode, and then maybe a PvP mode later in the future, but that's separate. Then on top of that, just new Dark Ether Rifts with every major title update that we can spawn into via an act mission, and then back into if you do an Easter egg quest. Like I said, we already saw that formula with Season 1. I'm not opposed to it. I'm cool with that, and that content's better than nothing. I'd rather see at least that than just the mode get killed off, but I feel like the community is going to be pretty upset about how it'll essentially be the same kind of content drop every time, with the possibility the schematics get worse and worse each season too, because what other schematics do they possibly add in if we're not going to get anything crazy added into the game? Is it hopeful to see new wonder weapons, more perks? Probably not, but I'm still curious to see what their plans are, at least with the narrative going forward that helps set up maybe some of the plot for Black Ops 2024 Zombies. The last thing I'll end with is that MWZ has been a mixed bag of emotions for a lot of people. People were skeptical about this extraction type of experience from the get-go, people that maybe didn't like Outbreak from Cold War, or maybe didn't really get familiar with DMZ during Modern Warfare 2, they didn't really know what to think going into MW3, and even your typical zombie YouTubers or round-based fans, everyone was very optimistic yet skeptical. Everyone was a mixed bag about it, but then the mode came out, it was very successful. The mode felt like it already had multiple seasons worth of content. Season 1 dropped a banger amount of DLC, and we were all happy with it, but then looking at the reality here, after all the layoffs, after Treyarch apparently is going all hands on deck for Black Ops, which I agree with, I don't agree with the layoffs, but I agree with Treyarch going all hands on deck for their own game, but you just would have hoped that maybe a better plan could have happened, or a better transition could have been made a reality, so that somehow we still get some type of content in a mode that is apparently so successful. Hopefully it's not so successful to the point where Activision's like, yeah, we'll take this in mind for future MW installments, but not in mind for the rest of the DLC season for MW3. Hopefully it's not the case where they're like, yeah, we know it was successful and we're going to take note on that, but we're not going to really worry about it for the last couple of seasons of MW3's life. Let's just see what the future holds here. But in all, this is what's going on right now with Modern Warfare 3, and I'm still going to cover the mode, still going to grind it, still going to be hopeful for it, but in reality, looking at a 4-year developed Black Ops game is going to be something that I think really helps the Zombies community more than any DLC update could for MWZ. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the crazy news about MWZ, the new content updates, some of which have apparently been canceled, plus everything else we discussed about that creator call. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.